5 has become live and direct to you, into your cars, into your homes, but most importantly, into your hearts. This is the social network, usually with Seraj Bassa, but it's myself, Seraj Bassa, filling in for him, and I'm going to be in your company for the next hour, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the program on this beautiful, absolutely wonderful, penultimate Friday in the Mubarak month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, we are broadcasting live from the Saxony Westwood Mall. It is the Eid Milan 2025, 1446. And I see loads and loads of people coming into the Eid Milan this afternoon on this beautiful, very warm Friday. And I trust you are having a good one. Hope you're having a spiritually uplifting Jumu'ah as well. Do remember us, our family, our team as well in your du'as, especially now as we are on the cusp of the last 10 nights of Ramadan al-Mubarak. We are almost there, alhamdulillah, and we look forward to this very, very Mubarak time as well. So come on down, get all your shopping out of the way, and just be prepared spiritually for the remainder of the month, which we need to maximize our ibadat and everything else during this time before the month passes us by. And indeed, it's already the 20th day, and we're heading now into the 21st night. So we have a wonderful program lined up for you here on the social network. We're going to be chatting to Dr. Yusuf Baker a bit as well, and we're going to be doing the Dawood competition as well. We can have Chef Rujana Ibrahim is going to be our guest in studio as well. So an opportunity for you to make yourself a winner. That's going to be coming up as well. All from now right up until 4 p.m. this evening as we broadcast live from the Saxony Westwood Mall, alhamdulillah. So this afternoon, we're talking about Between Prosperity and Hope, South African survival guide in these very uncertain times. And let's go straight into it. Throughout history, economies thrive or collapse based on the interplay of three forces, which are productivity, debt cycle, and decision of those that are in the corridors of power. Now, South Africa's current movement is a case study in this dynamic, a global rebalancing which is driven by BRICS's push against the Western financial hegemony, clashes with a domestic budget strained by 1 trillion rand in debt, with 18 million citizens, 18 million South Africans relying on social grants just to survive as well. So at the heart of all of this lies a critical question. Can a nation reconcile fiscal discipline with humanity? And that is a very, very important question. So joining us now to speak more about this and to unpack these issues, we are joined by Dr. Mahmoud Yusuf Baker, an economist, a founding director of Al Baraka Bank. So he's also a banker. He's a co-founder of the Iqra Trust as well. And he has vast interest in academia as well. Dr. Baker bridges the rigor of global finance, having advised institutions across Africa and the Middle East with grassroots urgency of lifting orphans out of poverty through his pioneering work with the Iqra Trust Knowledge Center and the Orphans Endowment Program as well, which he is involved with. His unique lens merges Cairo boardrooms with Johannesburg townships, offering a cross-continental perspective on South Africa's fiscal crossroads. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome a person who is no stranger to the areas of Radio Al Ansar. And I think it's more of a Ramadan tradition that we have Dr. Baker with us as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Marhaba, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Seraj, for hosting me. I must inform the listener that I'm very impressed. I didn't expect this exhibition. It's huge and people keep coming. I thought that I'm in the wrong place. Yeah, I thought it would be something quiet. Yeah. So anyway, I would like to take the opportunity to wish Al Ansar continued success.
Ameen. Indeed, yeah. It's a pleasure to have you here as well. And I'm glad you decided to accept our invitation and come here.
I'll bring my wife tomorrow.
Inshallah, for shopping and the wallet as well.
Yeah.
But Doctor, as I said, it's a Ramadan tradition for me to interview you. Alhamdulillah, we connect once a year talking about the challenges that we face in South Africa. And yes, we do face a lot of challenges in this country. We see on a daily basis, the middle class eroding, people falling below the poverty line. And this seems to be a recurring theme year year after year. Where do we see ourselves now, as compared to previously? And how is the worsening condition in South Africa, looking like as we go forward?
Thank you very much indeed. It's a very good and very difficult question. But what you mentioned, what I like, what you said, that if we can, after all these problems we have in South Africa and the challenges, can we reconcile still between the fiscal discipline and the humanity? So this is a very big question. Yeah. So let me, when we say fiscal discipline and policies, we talk about the responsibility of government in managing the various resources that we generate from income taxes and all this stuff. So it's a big responsibility. And also, one of these responsibility, apart from how they manage the public funds and public expenditure, is the debt, how they manage the debt. Because usually in economics, most of the government, they always have a deficit. And some of them, they borrow straight. The government, they borrow like us. They borrow from banks. And they issue what we call it treasury bonds and bills, all this stuff. This level of debt is very, very important, because if we cannot manage it, it will be a disaster. And it will make things worse. Also, under this, the responsibility of the government is, as an economist, I think it's important for me to mention that economics used to be a social science, but now it's a more mathematical science, meaning that it has no place for humanity. It's a very tough practice now, economics. So it's time now to add a humanitarian touch to it. And all countries, they do this. By this, I mean, we have to take into account, that we have many vulnerable, as Seraj said, 18 million people, they live on the social grant.
Absolutely.
And so we have in economics, to measure the health of any economy in the world, we look at four factors. Number one, the human resources, and here we don't have any problem in South Africa. Number two, the natural resources. Again, we are very resourceful, and we are blessed with all the resources we have in this country. Number three is what we call it the capital. Capital is the factor where we can, like equipment, for example, infrastructure. This factor, it helps us to use the human resources and the natural resources the right way. Without capital, we can't do this. Then the last factor is what we call it management. And here is our problem, management. Because management is the factor that combine all the other three and get the best output, the optimal output. So if we, and this is our problem in South Africa, we have to admit, we have, mismanagement and the corruption, and you all know, even the government, they admit this. So one issue also, I think you mentioned, we can, people talk about this these days, like the VAT. They increase of VAT by 0.5% of points.
Yes.
Actually, it's a small percentage, because if we imagine like an item for including VAT now is 100 rand. So when you add half a rand, it's not half a rand will not make anyone rich, and it will not make anyone poor. But for the poor people, because they don't want to buy only one commodity, so they buy so many things.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
this 0.5% it can be too much for them. And also in finance, the VAT, we call it's indirect tax, meaning that it doesn't distinguish between people.
Right.
Yeah. So the rich are like the poor. and this is unfair.
Yeah, so why was VAT chosen? You know, just this 0.5%. Why was VAT chosen as opposed to maybe corporate tax? You know, cutting out corporate
Yeah, I'm
tax
coming to
loopholes
this.
or
Yeah,
cutting out
yeah,
government wastage expenditure
yeah.
as well.
This is very good point. Yeah, it's excellent, Salah. Better than the VAT actually is, for example, progressive tax. Progressive tax, it focus on the rich people, and the rich people in this country are very, very rich. One of the major challenges we have is the inequality and in income and wealth, and it's keep widening.
Right.
So it's a serious thing, and it's threaten the social fabric of the country. So this is much better than the VAT, but for the government it's easy. They say, yeah, we'll increase the VAT. I'm glad that the people refused the 2%, and now they are talking.
They would have never accepted it.
Yeah.
So Alhamdulillah, I guess you know, there was some consensus, but 0.5% now and 0.5% next. I think it is the 1st of April. Is when we'll see another increase coming through. So that's giving them 1% over 2 years,
Yeah.
which is better than 2% in
Yeah.
at a go.
Yeah. So back to that humanity issue, the big question is whether we can reconcile between the fiscal policies and discipline and the humanity. I believe we can, and this is here. The government must always think about the vulnerable people and the poorest of the poor. So, for example, I think it's one of the government duty to ensure that these people will be able to live a little bit in dignity, and also ensure that they will be able to enjoy the basic services like education and health. Education and health. So when anyone goes to the government hospitals, it's a disaster.
You're right.
It's
Absolutely.
a disaster,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
And education also in public schools is not like private schools. So this is one of the things that will add this humanitarian touch to the pure economics and pure finance. Then it will be a little bit merciful with people. And instead of just a focus on the technicalities of designing good policies without taking this into account, this dimension.
So
The other thing,
yeah.
other thing also is it's very important for the poor people is the what I call it, the food security and water security. So this is also something very important. We have
Right.
to plan for it all the time to ensure that these people will have this. And also one of the responsibilities of the government to ensure that we have good governance and sort of accountability. And I wrote an article the other day in the Mercury, and I remember I said in it that there is a very important source of funds, but it's not known, or it's hidden, or it's ignored. That source of funds is fighting or eradicating mismanagement and corruption. So this could be a huge source of funds.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and this requires a strong leadership in this country, not Ramaphosa. Yeah, it's someone is tough. Ramaphosa is a nice man, but he likes to please everybody, and this is
That's not a
fair.
quality of a true
Yeah,
leader.
it's not a good style of management. You have to be tough.
You have to be tough.
Yeah. So
If they can curb wasteful expenditure, that will add billions, of course, to
Yeah,
the fiscus,
yeah,
which will
yeah.
not mean that the citizens will have to
Yeah.
eventually pay for it, which is now the case of what citizens are doing. So, doctor, if I were to ask you, right, we're living in an environment with this high inflation. We know it's a high tax environment as well. Our rand, of course, is quite weak, not doing very well. What should everyday South Africans be doing in order to protect themselves financially? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves. In order to protect ourselves financially.
financially.
And where should we be putting our money? That's the question as well.
Yeah. Actually, I remember last year, I talked about this maybe, I remember, yeah. I told people that because we are heading to an inflationary time, So the best way to hedge against the inflation and the deterioration of the rand is, I said, to invest in gold.
And we can see how that is turning out
Yeah,
now.
and now you see the gold exceeded $3,000 per ounce.
$3,000 per ounce.
I
Indeed.
couldn't imagine it myself. But I remember that in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, 2020, we honored one of our trustees. And I remember we bought 1 ounce of gold.
Hmm.
Imagine how much I paid: 19,000 rand.
90,000 rands at that time.
19, 19.
19, right.
19. Now it's about 60.
Allah Akbar.
60,000
60,000 in
yeah.
just what, 4.5 odd years.
Yeah. So you can see
Alhamdulillah.
the difference. Yeah,
That's
So,
quite an investment,
yeah.
quite a return on investment.
Also, other investments is properties, land, and also investing in the stock market, because some of the companies, they know how to deal with the inflation. They are very successful, and usually they are smart because they can pass the inflation to the consumers. So, but just to save money, rand is not enough to protect yourself. Um, by the way, but also for the benefit, I was talking about the how economics switch from being a social science to mathematical science.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just an example, just something good for the listeners to know. Usually, when we measure the supply and demand, to reach the equilibrium point, now we use what we call it the effective demand. By effective demand, we mean that demand that associated or accompanied by purchasing power. So meaning that we, from the technical point of view, we don't take into account that there is a demand from the people with low purchasing power or without enough purchasing power. So they are outside this equation, which is really unfair. So the government also must to consider this as part of the demand, not only the people with the purchasing power.
Right. If we were to shift the conversation a bit to the ICRA Trust now, of course, which you are the co-founder of, they have been deeply involved in supporting orphans, not just through immediate relief, but also by creating long-term opportunities for education, for welfare, and self-sufficiency as well. So can you share some of the most impactful initiatives currently underway? And looking back, what tangible differences have these programs made in the lives of the children in these communities which you are serving?
Yeah. ICRA actually, I took the initiative to start it in 1980 or something. Yeah, no, sorry, 1990. Yeah, so it
35
was just
years ago,
registered.
yeah.
We registered through Al Baraka Bank when I was a director there, and then I left my job overseas because I wanted to do something to humanity and academia and this year. So I sacrificed my job, and now I am very proud that I did that. ICRA is big organization now, and we focus on education. So we support many schools, and also we support tertiary education by offering bursaries and interest-free loans. We deal with all universities in the countries, and we support so many schools, and we adopt many young learners. And we after I started also the ICRA Trust Knowledge Center in front of our offices in Hunt Road. It's a very beautiful center indeed. I invite all listeners to come to visit it. We are very central, the extension of Musgrave Road. It's called Hunt Road.
In
And,
Glenwood, yes.
Yeah, you will see on your hand right side. Now you can put the fan a little bit. We created nice halls and fitted with all the latest technology. We have projectors and sound system, very comfortable seats, and we bring teachers. We hire teachers to offer classes in mathematics, science, physics, accounting, English, all for free for the young learners. And we are very, very busy with all these programs.
Alhamdulillah.
And yeah, and also with in partnership with the various universities, we offer other programs also. So we try to give people future, not money only. And this is working, yeah. I would like also, if you don't mind, to talk about the Orphans Fund for in 1 minute.
Sure, no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am also the chairperson of the Orphans Fund, and this is very close to my heart. The fund is it's a waqf. I'm sure most of the listeners they know the meaning of waqf. Waqf is when you allocate some of your wealth or any assets for the poor people. So it used to be a concept enjoyed by rich people, but when we created the Orphans Fund, we created an opportunity to anyone to enjoy this, because when you put any money there, donate any money, the money will stay forever, because we use only the income we generate on all these funds to help so many orphan boys and girls. And the fund is a partnership between ICRA, Al Baraka Bank, and the Islamic Relief. And I am the chairperson. So we have so many programs to help those orphan boys and the girls. And I invite all of you to invest for the hereafter
Absolutely.
in this fund. There is a very beautiful hadith for our Prophet, and it says that, I will say it in Arabic and then I translate it in English. It says that إذا مات ابن آدم, like everything closes in his life except three things. So it says in Arabic, إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث, except three things. Number one is to raise a good child that will be beneficial to the society and the people around him. So when he dies, his children will be like sort of waqf to all of us. The second one, knowledge, useful to people. And the third one, sadaqa jariyah. Sadaqa jariyah means ongoing thawab. And this is the waqf. So if you leave a property or any wealth for poor people, I think you will be rewarded forever.
Absolutely. Dr. Baker, we come closer to the end of this program. What are your parting words for our listeners in this Mubarak month, on this very Mubarak day of Friday, as well as we come now to the last 10 nights of Ramadan as well? Your final words, your parting words.
It just Ramadan is an opportunity for all of us to just try to help the poor people, and also to, as I used to say, we are multi-dimensional beings. That we have, the political dimension, the social dimension, the animalistic dimension, the greedy dimension. But one of the most important dimension is the what you call it, the spiritual dimension. The spiritual dimension. So this is we live it in Ramadan. So we when we go to Taraweeh and Tahajjud, all this, and when we fast, we always think of this dimension. So it's a very beautiful month for us to focus on this dimension and to be more ethical and helpful to other people.
Absolutely. Dr. Shukran, thank you so much for your time and coming through to the Eid Bilad and having a chat with us. And inshallah, all the best with all the programs. And we look forward to more interviews like this, hopefully not only in Ramadan, as we go forward. Shukran, Doctor. I really appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, indeed, Seraj, and thanks to all our listeners. And again, I wish Al Ansar all the best and continue
Alhamdulillah.
success,
Ameen.
inshallah.
Ameen.
Thank
Shukran.
you very
Assalamu
much.
alaikum. That was Dr. Mahmoud Yusuf Baker, an economist, as we mentioned as well, founding member of Al Baraka Bank and also co-founder of the ICRA Trust and head of the Orphans Endowment Program within ICRA as well, talking about the challenges that we're facing as a country and how we need to navigate that as well, and how we need to focus on charity. That's what we're talking about, focusing on charity as well, in order to make sure that that will benefit us in our next life. As much as we can do things in this life, we need to do things for the next as well. And through charity to Sadaqah Jariyah, these are the best avenues that are available to us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, inshallah, we're going to have our next segment. It's going to be exciting. We give you an opportunity to make yourself a winner as well, because it's a Dawood Ramadan Table, the social network edition that we're going to be doing. So keep it locked onto those dials. It is okay, sure. One last parting shot. No problem,
If
Doctor.
anyone, wants to invest in the Waqf fund, just if you go to any branch of Al Baraka Bank and tell them that I want to donate anything to this fund, they will help you. And also, you are most welcome to come to our offices at 1500
Hunt Road, yes.
And also, you can go to the offices of the Islamic Relief. Anyway, thank you very much.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum. We'll be back after this.
Looking to book your next holiday? Make your way to One Stop